friends, Bishop Andy Saluta here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my mini Bible webinars that I do on a regular basis. Now, I'm doing this actually on the behalf of the New Life School of Theology, which is our online school. I am your host and Bible coach, Andy C. Luter, and on behalf of myself and those who are attached to me, let me welcome you to these next few moments as we convene this mini Bible webinar that I trust and pray that you will enjoy. Friends, today I'm actually bringing closure to a series that I have been doing on the Judges. And so I want to look specifically at the two personalities that are listed here on the screen. That's Eli and Samuel, and they are the last of the judges. Now, Eli and Samuel are the last of the judges that are found in the Old Testament. And although both of them are indeed judges, what is peculiar is that we don't find either of them listed in the book of Judges. Now, the book of Judges actually captures 12 individuals. That includes people like Deborah and Gideon and Barak and even Samson. And there's some more obscure names like Shamgar and Ehud and Othniel. And of these 12 that are listed in the book of Judges, we do not find the names of either Eli or Samuel. However, they were not only judges, but they were priests. They carried out priestly functions, and I call them bridge personalities because they carry us into the time of the kings and the time of the prophets. Now, the other thing that you'll notice about both the names Eli, and I'm going to pronounce this name as Eli for the duration of this mini Bible webinar, and Samuel, you'll notice that both of them have embedded in their names E-L. Both of them have embedded in their names E-L. Now, on other occasions, I have taught you that there are 4 syllables that in Hebrew literally mean God. They are E-L, A-L, E-H, A-H. Let me give those to you again. E-L, as in Bethel, the house of God. A-L, as in Baal. E-H, as in Yahweh, or A-H, as in Jehovah. The thing that we notice about both of these individuals, Eli and Samuel, and you'll notice that the I shows possession. So Eli literally means the God that belongs to me, or my God. That is why in the New Testament, Jesus says, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? The word Samuel comes from to be called, or to hear, to listen, and it literally means to be called of God, or to be called by God. Both of these persons have the name of God embedded in their names. Now, in the case of Eli, he was the high priest that presided in Shiloh at the time when the ark was mobile. Now, some of you may tend to think that the Ark of the Covenant always resided in Jerusalem in the temple. But at this particular time, the temple had not yet been built, because Solomon would build the temple, and that would be literally hundreds of years after the time of Eli and Samuel. This is when the children of Israel were a nomadic people. They moved from place to place. And wherever they moved, they took the tent with them. They called the tent the tabernacle. And once the tent was pitched, then they would move the Ark of the Covenant into the tabernacle. So as the Ark of the Covenant moved around, in this particular case, they are in Shiloh at the time of Eli and even Samuel later on. Shiloh is a common place for them to house the Ark of the Covenant. Now, Eli is also prominent in the story of Hannah, and Hannah is the mother of Samuel. Now, I'll talk a bit more about that when I get to the portion of this mini webinar that deals with Samuel. Eli becomes the mentor and teacher to Samuel after hearing from God. Now, when I talk about hearing from God here, I'm saying that Samuel gets up in the middle of the night because he hears a voice. He goes to whom he assumes that the voice belongs to, and that would have been Eli. Eli says, "It was not me, go back to bed." After a couple of times that this takes place, then Eli realizes that God is speaking to Samuel. Now, here's what's important. The role of the priest was to be the mouthpiece of God. So if God was talking directly to Samuel, he is circumventing the role of the priest and the very function and the purpose of Eli. Now, I'm going to get into some of the scandalous behavior that is attached to Eli's family in just a little bit. And that then you may understand why God would have spoken directly to Samuel. Now, Eli is also the father of Phinehas and Hophni, who abused their powers as the sons of the priest. It is said that they took the better portions of meat that was brought to the tabernacle for sacrifice, and they took advantage of the women who were serving in the tabernacle. And so, because Eli did not properly reprimand them or keep them from this behavior, it is believed by most scholars that what happens to Eli is the result of his failure to maintain and uphold a moral standard. So what I want you to remember here is that Hophni and Phinehas are the offsprings of Eli, but they bring corruption into the tabernacle. They are, because of this in part, they are killed by the Philistines when the children of Israel fight against the Philistines. It is Phinehas and Hophni that take the Ark of the Covenant into battle, and they are, in that exchange, they are killed, and they are no more. Now, they're killed on the battlefield while attending to the Ark of the Covenant, but it is generally believed that their death is more responsible to the corruption that they brought into the tabernacle. Now, the Ark of the Covenant, which was the symbol of God, was lost in this battle with the Philistines. They actually take the Ark of the Covenant hostage, and that's why much later on David would go and retrieve the Ark of the Covenant from the Philistines, who have taken it at this particular time. Now, when Eli, who is back in Shiloh, learns that not only that the Ark of the Covenant has been lost, but also that his sons have been lost in battle as well, he falls out of a chair backwards, he breaks his neck, and that is the end of Eli. Now, let's turn our attention for just a few moments to Samuel. Remember, this mini Bible webinar is dedicated to both Eli and Samuel. Samuel is born to Elkanah and Hannah. Now, I want to pause here because the circumstances of Samuel's birth is a repeated pattern in the Bible. Now, we begin with Abraham and Sarah. And this pattern is that there are couples who are seemingly beyond their childbearing years. We remember Abraham, an older gentleman, Sarah, his wife, they give birth to Isaac in the old age of the two. There is then the parents of Samson. Again, old age, they petition God to allow the mother of Samson to become pregnant. She promises to bring the child up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. Then we have the birth of Samuel here. When we go to the New Testament, there is the birth of John the Baptist. This pattern is repeated. And even though this pattern is not repeated with Jesus, the apocryphal New Testaments do tell us that in the case of Mary, her parents, Anna and Joachim, follow this same pattern. All right. So the parents of Samuel are Elkanah and Hannah. Now, Elkanah actually had two wives, multiple wives, and the mother of Samuel, who is Hannah, is barren, and she is constantly teased and abused by Peninnah, who is the other wife of Elkanah. Why? Because she had no children. This results in her crying out to God, asking that she be allowed to become pregnant and to bear fruit of her womb. When the child is born, and that child would be Samuel, he is turned over to Eli after he is dedicated, and he is placed in the custody of Eli. Now, you'll remember earlier I talked about him coming to Eli in the middle of the night, thinking that he had heard Eli's voice. It actually was God's voice. But the reason that he was there in the first place is because he had been turned over to Eli to be raised, to be reared, to learn the craft of the priesthood, and to be a ward of Eli. Now, at the time that he was turned over, no one knew that Phinehas and Hophni would end up dead, but it's just like God to make provisions for the continuation of his will, even in the face of those who are disobedient to him. Now, Samuel hears from God who he first believes is Eli. I'm just taking you through that narrative. That is a repeat of that. And of course, once Eli and Phinehas and Hophni are no longer, Samuel assumes leadership after the death of Eli and his two sons, which would have been Phinehas and Hophni. Samuel lives in Ramah and leads Israel as judge. Now, this is so very, very important because he does not lead Israel by his own will, his own ingenuity, his own imagination, or even his own genius. What preserves Samuel is that he directs the people of God as he is directed by God. Let me say that again. He directs the people of God as he is directed by God. Now, that brings us almost to the close. Like Phinehas and Hophni, however, and we're not told exactly what is going on or what the infraction is, but the sons of Samuel grow up to be a disappointment, much like Phinehas and Hophni had been. And as a result of their misbehavior, the people cry out to have what everybody else has, and that would be a king. They want a king because of whom they see as being unworthy of continuing the office that Samuel is holding. And so they ask for a king. Now, this asking for a king will take two forms. It is Samuel that anoints Saul as king. And earlier I talked about this being a bridge between judges and kings. And because when the people ask God for a king, God exercises permissive will. Now, let me just pause right here. There's a difference between permissive will and perfect will. Permissive will is that which God allows. Perfect will is that which God prefers. Now, God would have preferred that the people remain loyal and dedicated to him and operate without a physical king, but he allows them to have a king because they, the people, think that that is what they want. And so he ends up anointing Saul. Of course, Saul violates the laws that are laid down by God by performing a sacrifice as he goes into battle because of what he thought was the unavailability of a priest. And when Samuel shows up and discovers what he has done, he rebukes and reprimands Saul for this act of violating God's law and God's will. And of course, Saul argues that he didn't want to go into battle without a sacrifice. And that's what prompts Samuel to give these words that all of you have heard at one point or another, and that is, obedience is better than sacrifice. Now, as a result of this, God withdraws his favor from Saul and instructs Samuel to go to the house of Jesse and there lay hands and anoint the king who would replace Saul, and that would be David. And so Samuel later not only had anointed Saul, but he now anoints David to be king over Israel. In the end, Samuel dies in a place called Ramah, pictured here on the screen. This is a current picture of Ramah. There's a great building and memorial that is there dedicated to the life of Samuel, and this is referred to as the burial place of Samuel. Again, he lived his adult life in Ramah, and Ramah is where he was buried. Well, friends, that takes up just about all of my time, and I certainly want to thank you for yours. You have been listening and watching this mini Bible webinar, and it's coming to you on the behalf of the New Life School of Theology, where we have assembled some 60 courses for you to pursue in terms of the enhancement and even the expansion of your theological understanding and education. We have 4 programs: a biblical certificate, a associate's degree in biblical studies, an advanced certificate in biblical studies, and a bachelor of theology. And I want to invite you to take advantage of the link that should be on the screen right now that you're taking a look at, and take a look at what we have. We are bringing this to you as a free opportunity in terms of this mini Bible webinar, but we're hoping that you will so enjoy the material that we're sharing with you that you will visit our online school and consider taking one of our regular online study programs. We have a 1-year program, then we have a 2nd-year program, a 3rd-year program, a 4th-year program, even a 5th-year graduate program. All of that's available at the New Life School of Theology. Again, that is the New Life School of Theology. Well, that takes up just about all of my time, and I certainly want to thank you for yours. Again, take a look at what we have to offer. I look forward to seeing you in the not too distant future. Always remember that God loves you, I love you, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. God bless.